So, this morning is a chance to go over and to present and pray for some healing. And the first person I'm going to pray for some healing for is me, or rather, the Spirit. So I'm going to go over this morning, and I'm excited about going over to the Indian boarding school here in Mount Pleasant, Michigan, a state historically registered site that the state of Michigan has put up no trespassing signs on. Now, there's two issues here. One being that it is the Mount Pleasant Industrial or Indian Boarding School, and of course there's a cultural and historical link there for not just the tribe of this area, but a lot of Michigan tribes. So there's that. Now, on the other side of the section, there's a cemetery that has a big bronze plaque from a Michigan historic site that says, Indian Cemetery, and they've chained that as well. Now, common sense would dictate that anybody in their right mind, if they were denied an opportunity to talk to their ancestors or to honor their ancestors or to commune with their ancestors, that somebody would be upset. Imagine two things if they put up a no trespassing sign at, say, Fort Michilimackinac or at the Custer statue down in wherever it is. Or, conversely, if they put up a no trespassing sign and chained up the gate to the local cemetery to prevent people from going in there saying no trespassing, people would be pissed. I'm not pissed. I just want to make sure that people are aware of what it is. So that's what I'm going to do today. And there's also, for me, other signs. And I live my life by looking at the world around me and signs. And one of the signs that I've seen is this really interesting phenomenon in willow trees where this fungus grows out. And if you look at the 4 trees that are in front of the Mount Pleasant boarding school, each one of the little bubbles is about the size of a child's head. Now, I find it interesting, just as a symbolic thing to say, all right, these 4 trees, that this willow trees, the weeping willow trees, have a growth each about the size of a child's head. And of course, putting that in context with what we know that happened at the Mount Pleasant Indian School, it's not surprising. It's a high point of trauma. And I believe that the trees, in being our brothers and sisters, and being the nerves of this beautiful planet, of which we are connected and one with, exemplify some of that trauma in its surroundings. And I believe those trees do the same thing. Now, coincidentally, there are willow trees in other places that I've visited that are high points of trauma, weeping willow trees, and they have the same sort of growth on them. Yeah, so that's interesting. I find that interesting. Furthermore, this idea that my grandfather, Edward Solomon, went to that boarding school, and he's no longer with us, and many of those generations are no longer with us, but that trauma, that PTSD lives on. It lives on in us. So there's that component as well. And coming back from Madeline Island, coming back from the last stop of the migration, the Ojibwe migration, and coming back with the story and the power and the beauty of that spot, to come back and rebuild. Because once you've finished your migration, you have to rebuild. So I know that there has been rebuilding going on. And for me, it's a rebuilding of spirit. It's a rebuilding of spirit, and I can't stress that enough. This is the culmination of 6 years of work at not drinking alcohol and being comfortable with myself through recognizing and letting go of the fear of past childhood trauma. That's great. So there's that component. Now, the other component is that this place, Mount Pleasant, Michigan, is the crossroads of my life. Biologically, I am from here. But also, in being adopted, and if you look at the true word of the meaning adopted, it means nothing more than to be chosen. I was chosen. You were chosen, because we are all adopted of this place, this earth. So we are chosen, but also in being adopted and recognizing that this is also the center of my life of being chosen, that Dr. Laverne Curry, in his beautiful, beautiful life of science, also had the component of faith. And for some people, that is diametrically opposed. You can't be a man of science and you can't be a man of faith. And I'm saying that you can. That you can believe in your science, and in recognizing what the earth is and what this cellular life is, and that energy cannot be created nor destroyed, only converted from one form to another, and that we are chemical as well as spiritual beings, that we can exist, but it needs to be a balanced existence, and it needs to be a balanced walk. And so part of this tobacco burning is returning balance to the walk. They're talking about separation of church and state. No. They're not separating church and state, so why should I be forced to separate my religion from a no trespassing sign that says I can't go there and practice my religion or practice my culture? So today is as much about what may be termed in the books as cultural arson, the act of lighting a ceremonial fire to pray for your ancestors, would be interesting. So I don't know how it's going to turn out, but I know that it feels right. I know that it feels right. And this is part of my spiritual liberation, is that I went to the north end. I've gone to the north end and talked to the Creator. And in letting go of my fear, I said, if I can, through my life, be the vessel that carries your message, the message of spirit, and the message that this newness of life is no longer about sacrifice. This newness of life is about survival. We've sacrificed enough as a flesh, as a human spirit, or as a human flesh. We have sacrificed enough. So it's the survival of spirit that is, for some, will be their second coming. Not me, just the recognizing in themselves that they are spirit, and it is only through being filled with the Holy Spirit. When an Indian says spirit, it takes a weird, or maybe the right connotation. But we'll see. So the Spirit moves. And I hope you have a good day.